Shalom. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. So let's discuss something. So back in the day, everybody needs to understand what's happening in our world today. There's nothing new under the sun, says Solomon. What's been done before is done again. It's just a different way and a different kind of scene, right? So back in the day, there was this thing taking place here. It was called the Salem witch trials. Now, people need to understand the reason for the Salem witch trials, the causes of it. So back in the 1600s, they had slaves, and these slaves were being brought in from Africa, and Africans of these slave trades were practicing a religion known as voodoo. And in this voodoo, they have these things that they call voodoo dolls, where they stick pins and needles in the voodoo dolls and stuff. Now, I'm going to explain to everybody that also back in those days, the women and the men of the children were very busy, so most of the time the children were being watched and played with and monitored by these slaves. And these slaves were teaching the children this hocus pocus voodoo crap. Fact. And in this, now I also want you to know, during the Salem witch trials, one of my ancestors was killed. And her name was Sarah Bishop. Sarah and Edward Bishop. And this was a relative of mine, and she got murdered, accused of being a witch, and got murdered, okay? Now back to the storyline, where I want to explain to you that these children, basically being babysat by these slaves, were being told weird stories. They tell them stories at night, or stories during the day of their voodoo. And they'd show them their little dolls and poke pins and needles in them and all this type of weird stuff that was going on, everyone. I'm giving you a history. This has nothing to do with racism or anything else. I'm telling you facts that take place in a story that you can be well aware of. And you need to be well aware of because of what I'm about to tell you in this. So here, if you notice, here's two children. These are the famous children right here. And these children would go around and they would say that they were being poked and prodded by pins and needles. Now, when their bodies got looked at, there was no evidence, no physical evidence of this. So where were these young children concocting in their imaginations pins and needles poking into them? Oh, then we go back to that story where I was explaining to you, these slaves were watching their children, teaching them this voodoo crap. So these slaves who wanted to be, break free or be free, you know, all this other stuff, which is all this is understandable. But you have to understand that the way they did it, they thought that they could manipulate the people in a lying story, get everybody scared and freaked out and panicked and all this stuff, to where then look what took place. This whole Salem witch trials take place. Over 200 people die in the Salem witch trials because of this. And I'm telling you, that is exactly what took place. The community panic of those farmlands, what the Africans had been teaching children. So then the children were coming out telling on the parents, saying that, oh, my mom and dad are a witch. Because the slave, think about this, the slave knew that if mom and dad are going to be hung and killed, they have a chance of being free. People don't realize that, but that is something that if you're a slave owner and you die and there is nothing in your will, or your own master dies, the slave automatically becomes a free man. So if they can kill as many people as possible that they're enslaved to, they can run free. They'll have their papers to be free. You understand this? So they spread this lie, this foul shit around. Just like in today's society with hip-hop music. Teaching your children to do drugs, thinking it's okay to be a thug, rob and steal, and it's brain fucking all your children. Look at what's going on. I know I was once a child, and so the fuck were you. What were your influences? Think about that, dumbasses. So in this, there is a person right now, and her name is Rachel Levine. And this Rachel Levine is a transgender, so you're going to understand that, you know, they're manipulating the children. So now this same group that comes forth from the African hip-hop stuff, you have to understand that, everyone. This foul stuff, all this foul stuff is coming from this group of people. Look at, this is all history. Look it all up about these people. This whole group, ancient, even back in the 1400s, when people would go to their lands, they would find these weird people, even men dressing up as women dressing up as men. All this type of weird stuff was going on. Now you have to understand that even back in those days, in the 1600s, we have to understand that the Pilgrims never founded the 13 colonies. Never. These were founded by colonialists. And these colonialists, if you remember, think about it. Think about this, everyone. These colonialists used to wear wigs. They powder their face and powder their wigs. So there was already this in England, in this weird colonialist shit, there was already this cross-dressing transvestite shit going on. And then later you'll find it in Hoover, in the FBI, when he was a cross-dresser. And then you'll notice that the agenda that they're forcing and pushing everybody, this goes back in history, man. This is nothing new. They had infiltrated the Pilgrims a long time ago and started slaughtering Native Americans. They even dressed up as Native Americans at one time and went to the Boston Harbor and dumped tea overboard. And then all the people in the community who saw this, and they'd write in their newspapers about it, all believed that the Native Americans did it, when in fact it was the very colonialists that did this, putting the blame on them. In today's society, we call that a black operation in the military. And they do that to this very day. Everybody needs to wake up to that. So here we're going to jump into this video so you can understand that these people are all part of the colonialism. They're all part of that King England, the Queen of England, and all this other weird shit. Now, what
would you say to folks who think that they're being reasonable by saying, why can't children just wait till they're 18?
Adolescence is hard and puberty is hard. What if you're going through the wrong puberty? What if you inside feel that you are female, but now you're going through a male puberty?
What if you let a moron like that convince you to rip off your genitalia when you're 7 years old?
And what if I feel angry? What if I feel so angry I want to go and beat somebody up? So because I feel something, that makes it right? See how these people are? And the mind fuck that they manipulate? Now think about that, what I just said. I feel angry. Now you have two choices. You can either act out on your anger, or you can practice self-control of your anger and have a better thought and think. Think before you act. Think. Think. Look at this.
Feel that you are female.
Think before you act. That's a weirdo colonialist. Put a powdered wig on this person and they'd look just like the colonialists did back in the day. This is a transgender man. These are transvestite. Okay? This is the same type of thing, and now they're targeting your children. And what have they done? They passed a law in California, the same type of stuff that was going on in the Salem witch trials. They passed a law to try to say that if the parents or the children come to the parents and say, hey, I want to be something else, and the parents say no, the children go to the authorities, just like the children back in the day who used to go to their authorities and say, Mommy and Daddy's a witch. Now they're getting the children to come forward to the authorities, say, Mommy and Daddy won't let me have a sex change. The authorities go out and arrest them. And they charge them with child endangerment and all this other stuff. Think about this, everyone. And then you look out and you can clearly see what group and people are infiltrating things and causing problems in our democracy and in the way that they are lawless. They are lawless in their music. They are lawless in everything. They are foul, sons of Belial, Canaanite, all of this, very foul. And if you people don't think they are, you're already brainwashed by them. Already brainwashed. Don't call yourself a Christian. Read the Bible. It said that God told Aaron and Joshua to annihilate these people from the face of the earth. And because they didn't, God said, I'm going to spread them out into every nation. That was through slavery. And the Arab man's the one that caused that as well. The Arab got involved. Understand this? So today you have them in every nation, and in every nation they're going around corrupting stuff. So when people, you want to call Russia bad because of whatever it is, that's propaganda. It's all propaganda that now it's not America. It's these foul people who have taken power in America, colonialists, who have run amok in the global world, causing wars and things like this, calling it, oh, we have to look after our assets. assets, they don't belong to you. It's in another fucking land. You went there and you stole their shit, is what you did, America, and you fucking know it. It's not the citizen. Mind you, I have to address this. It's not us that's doing it. It's those that we have allowed in position of power. These people with renowned names, the Nephilim. Okay? So now, these people want to point the finger at Russia. You know, Vladimir Putin was trying to get rid of hip-hop out of his nation because he started to notice that this hip-hop was damaging the children of Russia's minds, influence them into being thugs. That's an Arabic word. You know, that's another Arabic word, thug, that these people want to call themselves. Do you know what thugs used to do in the lands of Arabs? They would rape, pillage, rob, steal, the same damn thing that these wannabe gangster thugs in America do. And yet, what do they do in America? They glamorize it. Oh, look at the new video. Let's promote this on the TV and everything else. Like I explained to you, the beast image. Really brain fucking everyone. So just look at the stories that I'm telling you. Look at the thing I'm showing you about the Salem witch trials. Those children, of how they were describing something out of their imagination, even though they were being looked at by doctor and physicians. Nothing of what they were saying was happening to them physically. So this is in their imagination. So where did they get these storylines from? Who is it that poke things in people with needles? That goes into voodooism. You understand this, people? This wasn't even in Christianity back then amongst the Puritans. Puritans had no concept of voodoo dolls. Where did that shit come from? So now you see where it stems from. Now look at your children today. Look at the thing, how they act and their attitude and what they say, how they dress and wear their clothes. Where does it come from? Now, these transgenders and all this other stuff, you have to understand that during the time, they used to try to get the women, because they said, oh, the women are oppressed, they need their right to vote, they need this and that. All that is fine and dandy, yes, but look who it was that that rode the coattails of the women in order to get their way. Think about that. And why is that always in commercials and stuff? It's always when they show these interracial mixed people, it's always a certain way that they're showing you this. Think about that. This is all brain fucking for everyone. It's all brain fucking. And they make it as if this is something that is normalized in America. So then they show this stuff in other people's land, and other people in the other land think that, oh, all Americans are like this, when that is like the smallest percentage of people that are in that kind of mind frame or attitude. But yet they glamorize it on commercials. Commercials are promoting it. All this thing on the image of the beast, the TV, like I explained to you. All of this is being promoted. Think about that, everyone. You understand who it is that has infiltrated. Thomas Jefferson right here had sex with his own damn slave girl, Sarah Hemings. Created children from that and had to later, because of the complaint, had to rewrite the Constitution. A lot of people don't even know that. Did you guys know that? So here you clearly see that these families, these men of renown, these Nephilim families, have always been in the White House. Always. That's why you'll see these movies, they come out, oh, did you know that the Africans, mathematicians, they work with NASA and they did this and that. Think about NASA going around lying like it's empty and void in space. There's nothing there, no such thing as aliens, none of this shit. So who is it that's concocting again this imagination of foul shit? Well, you go to the religion of what the people were practicing. Christianity doesn't have aliens, never spoke about it, never talked about it, none of that stuff. What religion did? Oh, then you go into the African world again. There in Africa, you know they believe that there's these underground people who are aliens that come out and they kidnap their children. They have foul stories, weird stories that you guys need to be aware of. But because no one teaches it and tells you the truth about these groups of people, all you see is what they want you to see. Now, these people have infiltrated our lands. They've infiltrated your democracy. You see the hip-hop attitude that they're bringing into the legislative floor. You see how they're holding their hands up like this? What are they meaning? What do they mean when they do that? And why are they doing it in our democracy? Why is it that they use something called pride in everything that they do? Gay pride. Now here's the funny thing. Black people, Africans, walk around all the time saying, I'm proud to be African. I'm proud. It's Black Pride Month. Black Pride. Pride cometh before the fall. Chinese people in America don't run around Chinese pride. White people don't run around saying white pride unless you're part of their neo-Nazi crazy mentality. They do this. But they're only doing this to mock that which they know. Because people need to understand that these people back in the days were well aware of who was causing problems in their nation. These colonialists tried to put a stop to them, and that's the same colonialists trying to put a stop to them to this very day. Now, all of this is wrong, but you have to understand, if you were to follow the law of God, when you weren't supposed to remove ancient boundary lines, you should have stayed in the lands where you were at. None of this intermingling and all these races of people gathering together was ever supposed to happen. The only reason it happened is because the colonialists were doing this. Kings and queens of the earth were intermarrying their children to try to appease the people so that they could create slaves out of them. Now you create these children with no parents, and you have to start a something to do with the children. So where do they put the children? In the coal mines. Think about all how everything can be connected. I'm telling you guys, everything can be connected, and every aspect of it can also be. When you work in the coal, what color do you become? When you work in coal mines and stuff, what color do you become? So everybody, you better understand what is really. Because God will use every aspect. Like I explained to you the Egyptian story with the Musa and the staff. God will use every aspect of a human being. Their thoughts, their imaginations, their minds, the beliefs that they have. He'll use it all to prove that you're a fuck up. And that He rules you. That's exactly what He did with Egypt. Because back in the days in Egypt, they believed in the hocus pocus nonsense. So God used the nature that was happening naturally in His plan and they started believing it was hocus pocus. And because of the scaredness of the hocus pocus, they finally let the people go. That was all part of God's plan. There was no hocus pocus. None of that shit happened in the way that religions are trying to teach people. It's all scientifically explained. And I'd show you all that. Just like this is also scientifically explained, and you can look out and you can even see all of this. Why did they choose a diamond ring, to be the thing for when you get married? This is a desire for a woman to get a diamond ring, when in fact diamonds are so abundant, they're not really worth shit. They're not. There's shitload of them. See, they only allow a certain amount of diamonds here. And that's why they become expensive. You understand? But there is so many. It's abundant. It's just a rock. That's all it really is. It's just a hardened up piece of rock that has been in the earth and done like... And where's it come from? Where do you get a coal? Coal, that's right. Look at that shit, everyone. Look at that. And so they got diamond ring coming from Africa, working in a coal mine. Meanwhile, they're trying to teach you to go and be in interracial relationships. It's all fucked your brains, everyone. You don't even realize the deep subconsciousness of this shit. It's that foul. It's this foul. And your brain, you don't even realize how foul and deep-rooted they have twisted your brain and the subconsciousness of it. Okay? And I'm trying to wake all of you up to this. And they'll call me all sorts of kinds of names because I'm revealing the truth. That's what they do. But you have to also understand, I have another video I'm going to be uploading that's going to explain even a greater detail that it doesn't matter left or right or whoever it is that's saying whatever they're saying. They're all in the same boat. They're all in it, and I explain it in great detail in this other video I'm going to upload. So I just want people to be aware of these Salem witch trials and this activity that's going on with the transgender world and where it all stems from, where it's all being created from, all this nonsense, all the lawlessness that's happening around the world, where does it come from? The Most High God told you where it's going to be coming from. And that's exactly what's happening. Exactly. And as long as we keep listening to their fleshly speeches, we won't get away from them. We have to destroy this fleshly nonsense of desire of the flesh and living of the flesh and go into the spirit. Pride comes before the fall, motherfuckers, where you talk about your flesh. You're so prideful of your flesh. I'm prideful that I have a good spirit that worships the Most High God. That's my pride. My pride comes from my God, not from fucking the flesh. But this is what they teach you. And think about all the other things of the flesh and the things that they speak about. You know, I can't. I want to say it, but it's. I can't. You know, they'll do something. You know, they hate me because I have a lot more wisdom than even what I'm telling you about this shit now, everyone. Because like I tell you, my whole life from being taken and adopted, I watched everything in the world because I was in a state of trauma, shock. And when I got sliced right here and creating everything that create for me, I'm well aware of where everything is coming from. Big time. I just never say it to anybody because I know the troubles I would have for saying it. But now I'm grown and much older. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of it, living in this fucked up world. And they're going to attack our children now. Now they want your children to tell on you so you can get arrested. Same thing in the witch trials. Nothing new under the sun, says Solomon. What's been done as before, it's being done again. It's a cycle. And those same people are causing it. Stop feeling sorry for these people. Stop. The Most High God creates everybody. And He creates the troubles for people because of their decisions and choices that they make. Here they're going to take from you and all your food, like back in the 80s. We are the world. We are the children. And then what they do, they give it all away. Why? Why don't these people over there go do their own business? Why don't they take care of themselves? Why don't they go and till their own damn ground? Why don't they do what they need to be doing to survive in the world? Why is it my responsibility to feed you? Even Jesus said, the poor will always be with you. You can help them anytime you want. You don't have to. That's not a command. God did not command you to do that. God will take care of His own creation that He creates. And if God is not taking care of a group of people, obviously there must be something that this group of people is doing that's pissing God off. Fact. Fact. And as long as you Christians don't wake up to this, as long as you Muslims stay asleep in this, we are going to be trampled upon, because that's what this fourth beast does. It's more diverse than the rest, and it tramples upon the residue of the people. Wake up! Be done with it! Don't give a fuck what race you are, motherfucker. If you act like a fucking devil, you're a devil. No ands, if, whats, buts about it. So, you have to remember, like everything I'm saying, look at it. It's truth. And it's happening again. It's a repeat again in our society. Remember in the 1600s, when it happened. Then 1700s came along. Then shortly after that, what took place? Civil War. Civil War. What do you think is about to take place in America right now because of the same fucking group? And now this group isn't just Canaanites and sons of Belials. No, they've got followers now. They've got the brainwashed now to follow along with their ideologies and their foulness. They're marching in the street with them. Think about how goofy that is. Why would I want to try to debate with someone about another person's race if I'm not even that color? I'm not your race. The fuck do I care? As long as and I say this because, I treat people the way that I want to be treated, so I'm not in a manner looking down on people of their race. It's about their spirit. But when it comes to what they're trying to push upon me, what do I have to do with you? Nothing. Every seed produces of its own kind. Get the fuck away from me. Your troubles are your troubles. Your error is your error. Your sin is your sin. And your punishment's going to be your own punishment. Don't put that shit off on me. And don't drag me and any of my children into your problems. And as you see, that's what they're doing. So now you're getting corrupt stuff going on in our legislation. You can see it. It's all over the media. You know it's going on. And if you speak about it, the next thing you know, what do they want to do? They want to censor you. They want to shut you up. They want to say they want to call you names. That's why I need people immediately. You got to get me known. If I can't do this without the people. Promote my videos. Share them. I don't get paid. Now, I have to tell you about an algorithm. So on some of my videos, if there's a copyright, sometimes the person who owns the copyright of my video, they can add on an advertiser to my video because of I'm using like a song of theirs or something like that. So if you see an advertisement, it's not me that did it. It's the person who owns the copyright that did it because they're trying to profit off of it. That's what they're doing. I myself don't profit off any of this whatsoever, nor do I give a fuck about it. I want to teach people the truth and get everybody united. Gather united. Right? So that we can put a stop to this. Literally, put a stop to it. And if they don't leave us alone, we will do what Muhammad did. We too will pick up the sword. Leave us the fuck alone. And this will be the civil war that I try to explain to everyone. But you have all these foul people right now in your religions that teach you hocus pocus and nonsense. I'm telling you, you've got to get away from that. Rise out of those dead graves. That's what Jesus is talking about. Rising out of the grave means to get out of these religious bullshit. It doesn't mean leave the word of God. No. Look what they have done. They're the ones who have created how for you to worship. They did it. They created all this. And I'll prove all this in another video that'll be uploaded. So just be aware that the Salem witch trials happened. This is the same shit going on, everyone. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.